So many marketers want to get promoted to head of marketing or marketing director. And what often happens is they work really hard by doing everything their leaders ask them to, running pillar to post, changing priorities, trying to make sense of what they want, trying to deliver it. But actually, there's a few key things that we need to focus on if we want to get promoted that are going to lead to that promotion, but they can feel pretty uncomfortable at first. I'm going to talk to you about how you can tackle each one. I'm going to talk to you about how you can get past some of these challenges and how you can make that step up into your next role in your B2B marketing career. And if you don't already know me, I'm Jade Tambini, aka B2B Jade, and I run the B2B Breakthrough Academy, my 6-module mentorship. Doors open again in April. We are currently closed. We are resetting, ready for a new cohort. And we're also busy behind the scenes building the B2B club. If you're interested in hearing more about either of those, when it's ready for intake time, just fill out the form in the show notes. So the reason I feel like I'm a very good person to help you with this is I've been where you are. I have made my way up to marketing director level over my 20 years in marketing. And I've seen firsthand through falling myself, through getting things wrong myself, what we try and what actually works when wanting to get promoted. I have got my trusty notebook here. So the first thing that we have to be able to do is know how to write a strategic marketing plan that not only excites us and that we feel like, yeah, I can deliver this, but also that your leaders can understand, can get behind and will buy into. And that is the hardest part when writing a marketing strategy. That is literally why I exist, is to impart the knowledge that I've learned the hard way as to how to write a marketing strategy that sits on a shelf and isn't touched and doesn't mean anything and is basically a shopping list, versus how to write a marketing strategy that you can deliver. And so that's the first skill that you're going to need to master to step up, because everything that follows, and I'll go into that in more detail later, but everything else that I'm about to share with you directly connects with your ability to do that. Because if you're not able to clearly show a business, here is how we get from A to B, and here are the resources that we're going to use, and here's how it's all going to work, and here's how we'll report on it, and here's what success looks like. If you can't do that, you're not going to be able to do the other things, such as, like on here, I've got, being able to say no so that you can focus on priorities, asking for what you need, building relationships, all these things. You're not going to be able to do that. So I'm not going to deep dive into how to build your marketing strategy right now, but I will say that I am doing that in my upcoming webinar, which is happening on Thursday, the 26th of March at 11 a.m. UK time. If you want to join me for that, there's a link in the show notes. It's going to be a really nice session, and I feel like I'm giving you plenty of notice here so you can get it in your diary. It's going to be a really nice session where I'm going to show you some examples of how you can build your own strategy, how you can step up and become more strategic. The topic is pretty much the same as this podcast episode, but it's just going to go into even more detail and give you some tools and takeaways that you can use. I really hope to see you there. The second one that we need to be focusing on to work towards the next step in our career is, and a lot of people talk about this, we need to be able to start talking the business language and stop talking in marketing jargon. I've done this myself. The reason why we do this is because we're worried that if we don't sound clever and sound like we really understand marketing, like the business is just going to think we don't know what we're on about. But the opposite is true. If you've got calm confidence and you talk in normal language and you're able to hold a conversation with the finance director about the accounting and about spend and budget and return, you're actually going to show the business that you're able to leave your bubble and you're able to have conversations that are relevant to the business and its overall goal. And are you able to step out of the complexity of what you do? And I also feel that with this one, leaders can smell a mile off when we're anxious and are just throwing stats to sound like, to just get through that review. I've done it myself, like, oh, what have you delivered this quarter? And you're like, oh, well, the social media impressions have been better. We've had some signups to a webinar, but like, what does it mean? We have to be able to talk in true business language so that people in the company can understand, well, what are you talking about? Jargon pushes people further away. Try not to use acronyms. Try not to use clever, fancy words. Try and make everything that you talk about in relation to business outcomes. So for example, instead of saying, I don't know, like we're going to increase brand awareness, you say we're going to make it easier for sales to close deals because people will have heard of us. Or instead of we're going to, generate more leads, you could literally just say we're going to shorten the sales cycle so that people buy from us within a shorter window of time. Something that is going to make sense to what they really care about. And that way, if you have in like part one of this video, when I'm saying you need to know how to build a marketing strategy, once you're able to do that, and that is what we do inside B2B Breakthrough Academy, helping people to go from reactive to all these different activities, all these different techniques to I know how to build a simple strategy. And now I've unlocked the ability to stop talking in jargon because I understand how marketing connects with an overall business plan. I understand the sort of language that my leaders care about. I've built a strong bond between the leaders and what I'm doing because I involved them in that process. But so much of what we're taught in terms of how to make a marketing strategy is completely fragmented. It's all these models, it's confusion. It's a lot of the education out there applies more to bigger corporates. You may have taken courses as I have where it's really exciting, it's really interesting and inspiring, but you're like, how do I apply this to my company? My leaders are going to look through me if I talk about that. What the heck am I supposed to do? And I honestly think that before we go into all that exciting stuff, we need to have down-to-earth, realistic, rooted in reality plans that we can sit with our leaders and go, here's what you've told me you want, and here's what I'm going to do. And everyone understands and everyone's on board. And so the next thing on my list here is I want us to learn how to be able to say no, being able to say that won't work. I talk about this all the time, but it's so important. Marketers struggle to say no without it being defensive and then kind of rupturing relationships. And I've done that myself where you just become the no team. I actually had a job where they basically, by the end of it, and it's only happened once, but by the end of my role there, they were just like, well, what have you been doing? You don't do anything. And I was like, whoa, I wish you could see the stuff behind the scenes of what I'm building. But because I was saying no so often, they were just like, well, what does she do? Fair enough, fair observation. Now that I've grown and adapted and evolved and understand these things a decade later, we have to be able to say no in a way that is not just like, well, no, we shouldn't do that because that's not good. That's not going to lead to results. People will just think you're annoying. It has to be, for example, if someone suggests, if I was in-house now, let's do a little role play. I'm going to sit back a minute because my back's hurting. So if I'm in a company and they're like, we should do this, rather than me go, no, that's a stupid idea, which is not what you would say anyway, I would go, thank you so much for sharing that with me. And actually love the sound of what you're saying. What I want to understand a bit more about is, where is this coming from? What issue are you trying to solve with this suggestion? So maybe it's a salesperson. Maybe they've said, oh, we should advertise on roundabouts in the local area so that people see us on their way to work. You're not saying, no, that's a dumb idea. It's just not necessarily the best thing to pick out of the toolkit. Then when you've asked that question that I just said, maybe they say, well, the thing is, whenever I speak to prospects, they've never heard of us. It's just making it really hard for me to set meetings. It's making it hard. Like, we're not known. This is something people complain about a lot. We're not known. And so what I would say to that is, I love this. I love that you're so aware of what is holding you back in our sales approach. Let me take that challenge and come back to you. I mean, if you can answer straight away because your marketing strategy is clear, you can go to them and say, what we're focusing on to make sure that our target audience knows us is we're doing this, this, and this. The budget won't extend to that unless we drop something else. And I don't feel that we should drop X, Y, Z, because those are showing some really good signs of working really well for us. And then maybe you can create like a separate project, such as, have you got a prospect list of people you're approaching that you want me to make sure is being nurtured well in the CRM system through our email platforms? If you've got a top 50 hit list, I'll think of something I can do to get these people more aware of us. What you're doing is you're taking what they've given you and you're moving it into a different place. In my experience, salespeople are happy to move to that different place with you as long as you've given them a bit of like, you're awesome, I love the idea, I love what you've come up with, I love what you're thinking of. And so in a way, you are saying no, the same way as if you're with the CEO and they're like, oh, we've seen that our competitor is doing like a YouTube channel and we want to do that now. You're not going to just flat out say no, stupid idea. You can say, well, okay, we decided not to do that in the strategy. Here's what we have decided to grow awareness and to get people into our funnel. My concern with switching up to a YouTube channel is if we take our eye off the ball over here, the goals that we've set for ourselves may get harder to reach. I'm worried that if we split ourselves out too much, we may risk not achieving the outcomes that we want for the end of this 6-month period. You are saying no, you're highlighting the risk. And then when because inevitably, and many of you will say, yeah, but they'll tell me to do it. I'll say, okay, I don't think we should do this. I don't agree that this is the right thing for us to do, but it is your company and I absolutely respect what you want for your company. But here are the outcomes that I predict as a result of switching things up. And if we're going to go for it, I recommend we do this for a minimum of 3 to 6 months with very consistent, highly resonating content that our audience can really buy into. We need a proper plan. Let's not just like throw up random content. This has to be taken seriously. Is there anything within the current strategy that you feel that we should drop in order to make room for this? Or would you like me to go back and look at the plan? And just FYI, that obviously will set us back a bit of time. But, it's important to me that you know that ultimately what you want is what we'll do. So even if you don't win, you are educating. And then 6 months later, you can go, it's not I told you so, but it is more kind of like further to our conversations before we launched the channel. We have seen a dip in this. That is in line with what I predicted. I am concerned that X. Here's what I propose we learn from this. So you have not been complicit in agreeing with something. You've gone, I don't agree with it. I don't think it will work. If I absolutely have to, I will. And then later down the line, if it doesn't work, I will show you why and how, and hopefully we can learn from it. I think that's really important. The next one I have here is to ask for what you need. What often happens is people kind of just make do with the resources they have and they just kind of go along with it and like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll take that on. Oh my gosh. And they're thinking, how on earth am I going to deliver all this? Truly strategic leaders, head of marketing, marketing directors who are successful in their roles, they ask for what is needed. They say, if I'm going to do that, we will need this. And that's again, highlights yet again, the importance of having a strategic marketing plan. Like when people come into my mentorship or the community and are like, hey, how do I do this? I'm like, okay, rewind. It has to be underpinned by having a strategic marketing plan that you believe in, that your leaders have bought into, because otherwise everyone's just floating around. I have talked about this before in relation to like building a house and stuff. I don't know why I'm holding this microphone. It's just like I'm sitting at my breakfast bar, but it's just cupboards. So when I'm talking, I have to lean forward. I just thought I would hold the mic for a bit. Anyway, if you're going to build a house and they're like, okay, cool, just chuck a load of stuff into a piece of land, a few bricks, a couple of windows, all different, just make a house now. Can you imagine what things would look like with no set plan? And that's kind of what happens with our marketing, is we just keep chucking new things in, random tasks. And so all our time gets taken with these random tasks and things not being organized. And I'm like, I love organization. I love everything being right, doing the right thing, everything connecting. And so in the webinar that we're going to have on the 26th, or is it the 26th? Let me just check the date. Yeah, Thursday, the 26th of March, we are doing a webinar at 11 a.m. UK time talking about how to become a more strategic marketer. And one of the most important factors, I've forgotten completely what I was going to say then. I'll just have a drink, just a sec. I get so out of breath because I just talk for so long. Oh, what was I going to say to you? Yeah. It's gone. Ask him for what you need. If you think you know what I was going to say, then let me know. Oh my gosh, that's so annoying. What the hell is that sound? Okay. Just have a little cake break while I figure out my life. I'm trying to do my podcast to be less edited now because I'm seeing so much kind of AI scripted YouTube videos now and they're really fatiguing me. is so perfect and every word is so scripted. And I just thought, I just want to press play and chat to you. So if there's natural pauses, then we just have to deal with it. Basically, ask for what you need. Strategic marketers, when they're moving into the next role, you need to be able to clearly articulate, this is what I'm doing, this is how, this is what, with what resources. So yeah, on that webinar, we're going to be covering that. I guess that's what I was going to say. You can sign up for that webinar in the show notes if I haven't already told you that. And so the next one, this is the last but one, and then we're going to finish, is relationships across the business. It's so important to not be siloed, and it's so important that you have a relationship with the salespeople, with operations, with customer service, with the CEO, with leaders, and that you really listen and you hear where they're at and you build bonds with them and you talk to them in a way that embraces their ideas, but also talk to them about what's realistic and what's possible. And then you can even do things like, I imagine it's the same in your department. Are there things that you want to get on with strategically, but people are constantly throwing things at you? And by the way, if I ever do that to you, please tell me so that I can improve on that and not add to your pressure and your workload. Just be human with people and be honest and explain to them what you're on a mission to do, and that actually it's your role as a marketing professional to make sure that your function ultimately gets results. Building those relationships is so important. And then the last one on here is to take ownership of results, not just activities. We want to move away from flapping around when we're asked what results have we brought, and almost like eat the frog, which is a saying I've heard. I don't know if I use it properly, but to do with getting the uncomfortable thing out of the way. And once and for all, just saying like, this isn't really working. I need to figure out why for us, but it's not really working. This is not the right way for us to be doing our marketing. We're not really getting the results I would hope for. Look, I don't just want to talk to you about impressions on social media posts. They don't mean anything to you. People who've downloaded a form. I want to have conversations with you about pipeline, about retention levels, about why customers leave us, why they choose us, what they've said about us, who is becoming a customer as a result of our marketing and brand presence. I don't want to talk to you about Google Analytics. It's not interesting to you. And I feel I've been doing that to try and make a square peg fit a round hole when I'm asked to do all these different tactical things. But I don't want to do that anymore. I want to rise up. I want to become a strategic leader in this company. And that's going to mean a transition. And so I would love to talk to you more and really dive into what you need this business to achieve so that I can talk to you about results and how far away they are or how close, or talk to you about how we're going to get to them. And I think that it needs to start now. So it's like, oh, it makes me want to breathe out. It's like a reset. You're resetting to go, this is not working and here's what I'm going to do about it. And I think a lot of leaders, they really respect that. I've had CEOs, so when I've done cohorts of B2B Breakthrough Academy, and obviously there's marketing managers and head of marketings joining, and their goal is, I want to get promoted, I want to earn more, I want to be taken seriously, I want my imposter syndrome to go, I want to know how to build a strategy that I can actually use. When they've joined, after maybe 2 or 3 weeks, sometimes I will literally get emails from their CEOs being like, wow, I'm seeing such a difference because my marketer is asking questions that are relating to my vision for the company, where I see it going, understanding sales goals, understanding conversion rates. And I've not seen this from them in the, I need a drink, in the ways that they're doing it now. I've not seen that before. So that just blows me away. I love hearing from CEOs because I'm like, oh, a lot of my content, if you follow me on TikTok and stuff, I do have a little laugh and a joke about us not getting treated very well. But the thing is, that's just sort of light relief. My goal is for you to work very well with your leader. I don't dislike leaders. I actually genuinely understand where they're coming from. A lot of the time, we do need to step up. Sometimes their execution, their leadership is not right. Absolutely not. A lot of the time when they're just throwing tasks at us, they're trying to fix the problem, but they need someone to say, this isn't going to fix it. Let me show you what's going wrong and what is going to fix it. And so you talking more about results and outcomes, even if it's to say, look, I'm aware we are not getting the results we want from our marketing. Let me talk to you about how I can change that. And I think what we need to do is this. Even these small steps will start to get you seen as more strategic. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Let me know in comments if any of this resonated. I would love to hear from you. If you are interested in hearing more about our next cohort of B2B Breakthrough Academy, doors are currently closed while I prep for our next group, which will start around April time. You can register your interest through the link in the show notes, and you can also register your interest, if this sounds interesting to you, for the launch of the B2B Club, which is going to be my membership. To explain the difference between the two things, B2B Breakthrough Academy has been here for a couple of years now, and I run different cohorts with marketing managers to help them build a strategy. We have mentoring calls, there's all the templates, basically everything you need to get this promotion is what we work through. I am going to be launching payment plans because feedback has been that people really want to take the program, but they can't always pay in one go if their company's not funding it. But what I've also decided to do is launch the B2B Club, and that is going to be a low monthly fee so that you can get like kind of access to me for a bit of mentorship. It's not going to be as intensive and transformative as the academy, but it's just a place for us to get closer, for me to give you guidance and for me to just start that transformation journey with you, like deal with you directly and say, okay, what's going on for you and here's how we can help. The links for those are in the show notes, and also don't forget to register for the webinar on Thursday, the 26th of March, which is going to be so great. We're going to go into much more detail on how to become a strategic marketer, and I'm going to give you loads of tools, takeaways, and transformative activities that you can do. I'm looking forward to seeing you then. And by the way, while you're watching this, I'm skiing. This has been pre-recorded with last week's episode because I've gone skiing with my family. That should be so fun, and I'm looking forward to catching up with you when I get back. I'll see you soon. Don't forget to like my video or my episode. Thanks, bye.